Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into the fascinating, totally hidden engine that literally drives human civilization and modern economies: agricultural productivity. You know, when we think about global growth, we usually picture bustling stock market floors or massive tech hubs, right? But today, we're looking at the absolute foundation of all of that. It's not just about tractors and dirt. It's the sheer math of human survival and prosperity.
Okay, let's kick things off with a massive question, one that pretty much defines our survival as a global population. The ultimate challenge of our time isn't just about growing more food. No, it's figuring out how we're going to feed a rapidly expanding world without completely exhausting our land, our water, and our environment in the process.
So here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with the engine of global growth, then move on to measuring agricultural efficiency. After that, we'll look at what drives farm productivity, explore the economic ripple effects, and finally wrap up with the challenges and future farming.
All right, let's jump straight into Section 1, the engine of global growth.
Now, there's a really crucial distinction here between two terms we constantly mix up: agricultural production versus agricultural productivity. If you want to boost production, well, you could just clear more forests for land or hire a massive amount of labor. You're basically just doing more by using more. But agricultural productivity, that's an entirely different beast. It is all about efficiency. It measures how we actually transform inputs into outputs. Productivity is the sustainable path. It's how we do more with the exact same or even fewer resources through smarter management and real innovation.
Moving right along to Section 2, measuring agricultural efficiency.
To really understand this, we need to pop the hood and look at the basic math, which comes down to a very simple formula. We're looking at how efficiently inputs, things like land, labor, capital, and water, are transformed into outputs like crops, livestock, and fisheries. Obviously, a higher number here means a much more efficient system. But economists actually evaluate this in a couple of different ways.
First up, we have partial productivity measures. This is where we measure efficiency by looking at just one input at a time. So, land productivity is your yield per hectare. Labor productivity measures output per worker, which, by the way, usually absolutely skyrockets the second you introduce mechanization. Then we've got capital productivity, looking at returns on machinery, and water productivity, which is huge for seeing how much crop we get per drop of water used, especially with cool tech like drip irrigation. But these partial measures have a massive blind spot. They only give you a limited view. I mean, improving one input might just mean you're leaning way too heavily on another.
So, to see the whole picture, economists rely on something called total factor productivity, or TFP. And this is brilliant because it illustrates true innovation. It measures total aggregate output against all combined inputs at once. When TFP goes up, it means output is growing faster than the resources we're pouring in. It tells us that something else is at play: technological innovation, better farm management, scientific breakthroughs. That's exactly why TFP is widely considered the ultimate indicator of long-term agricultural efficiency. Okay, let's head into Section 3, what drives farm productivity?
Now that we know how to measure it, what's actually in humanity's toolkit to boost these numbers? It's a huge mix of drivers that collectively help us cheat starvation. We've got technology and innovation, everything from high-yielding seeds born from the Green Revolution to AI crop monitoring and drones. Then we have natural resources, where maintaining healthy, organic soil and using precision irrigation are absolutely paramount. And crucially, actually, this might be the most important part, we have infrastructure and research. Think about it. You can grow the best crops in the world, but without rural roads, cold chain storage to stop them from rotting, and extension services to educate farmers, all that incredible potential is literally just left to rot in the field.
Let's ground this in a real-world scenario. Take the number 6 tons. If a farmer is harvesting 6 tons of wheat per hectare, that land productivity is no accident. It is the direct, calculated result of combining fertile soils, high-quality certified seeds, perfectly balanced fertilizers, and modern cultivation practices. Every single metric ton is a victory of applied science.
Which brings us to Section 4, the economic ripple effects. Let's zoom out from the farm for a second. This right here is the story of structural transformation. It's basically the backbone of how human economies develop. It happens in a few key steps. Step 1, farm efficiency rises, meaning we suddenly need fewer workers to produce the exact same amount of food. Step 2, all that surplus labor is now freed up to move into manufacturing and service sectors. Step 3, urbanization accelerates. By producing food more efficiently, humanity literally freed itself up to become engineers, doctors, and builders. It lifts the overall economic productivity of an entire nation.
And the benefits don't stop with just structural shifts. This productivity acts like a massive economic multiplier. It stabilizes food supplies and moderates prices, which keeps inflation in check for urban consumers. It raises farm incomes, honestly one of the single most effective ways to reduce rural poverty. On top of that, a highly productive agricultural sector supplies the raw materials needed for textiles, biofuels, and even pharmaceuticals, while competitive nations can export their surplus to generate valuable foreign exchange. It touches absolutely every single part of the economy.
But it's not all smooth sailing. Let's look at Section 5, Challenges in Future Farming.
The stark reality we have to face is that climate change and resource degradation are jeopardizing everything we've built. We are battling rising temperatures, wild erratic rainfall, and brutal droughts. And simultaneously, this is the really tricky part, agriculture itself is a major contributor to greenhouse gas emissions and groundwater depletion. The very system that keeps us alive is under massive stress from the environment, and it's placing massive stress on the environment in return. We need urgent adaptation.
So how do we innovate our way out of this? Well, we're turning to the digital agriculture frontier, and we're way beyond just self-driving tractors now. We're talking about artificial intelligence and machine learning predicting entire crop yields. We're talking about the Internet of Things, using incredibly precise sensors to apply water and fertilizer only exactly where a specific plant needs it. It's about mobile advisory services, beaming this big data directly to smallholder farmers. This digital toolkit allows farmers to make incredibly precise, data-driven decisions that slash waste and absolutely maximize yields.
The bottom line is this: we must achieve sustainable productivity growth to lower agriculture's environmental footprint without sacrificing our output. We need carbon-smart practices. But, and this is a big but, to make this a reality, we have to fix financing constraints. So many smallholder farmers just don't have access to credit, or they face massive equipment costs. We need innovative financing so that these vital, game-changing technologies can be adopted by farmers everywhere, not just the giant corporate operations.
I'll leave you with this question to ponder. As our world changes faster than it ever has before, and as the global population keeps climbing while our climate constraints intensify, will our push for sustainable total factor productivity be enough to feed the future? The science and the tools are definitely there, but how quickly we actually adopt them will absolutely determine the next chapter of human growth. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope this gives you a completely new perspective the next time you sit down and look at the food on your plate.